Going on, guys? This is Mike with the 1% Mindset. Welcome to episode 129 of the 1% Mindset podcast. I almost said the Mental Jolt podcast. For those of you who've been following the brand, who's been following me, you know that I've done a podcast for years and years. And over the last couple of years, I did the Mental Jolt podcast, which was a really quick 5-minute podcast that I delivered Monday through Friday every single day. Recently, I decided to take a break, maybe over the last 2 or 3 months. And in that break, I wanted to refresh, refuel, but find some clarity, right? Find some clarity in the space where I can figure out what the next move is. And the thing with clarity is, you want to have vision and you want to be clear and concise with what it is that you want. When you think about clarity, and I was reading something, or someone was mentioning the story. He said this guy, I don't remember the guy's name, but he said, this guy came to Mother Teresa and said, hey, can you pray for me for clarity? You're like one of the most clearest people I know. Can you pray for clarity? And Mother Teresa responded and said, I'm not going to pray for clarity. What you need is faith. You have a faith problem. A faith problem, not a clarity problem. And it was really convicting to me because so often for years and years, I've been praying for clarity. I've been praying for conviction. I've been praying to see something, right? Like, give me the vision to see exactly what I'm supposed to do. And a good friend of mine said, you can't see the future. He said, you can't see the future. So sometimes you have to have faith that what it is that you want. Faith is evidence of things that's not seen. And sometimes you have to have faith that what it is that you do want can come about without necessarily having the direction of what it's supposed to look like. That's true faith. Right? So while I'm looking for clarity in these visions and it's like, God, give it to me on this wall because I want to see exactly what it looks like. It's like, no, have a little faith. You have a faith problem. Right? And the beautiful thing with faith is that you will have to trust things that you cannot see. You have to trust it. And I've been lacking the inner trust in all areas of my life. Right? Sometimes things are a numbers game. Sometimes you just have to trust you. But if you don't trust you, if you don't have faith that what you want will play out, regardless of the results, then you'll never make the move. It shows up in every area of my life, and I've noticed that. So much that it stops me from being of my word sometimes. It stops me from doing the things that I say that I'm going to do. I had something, so I wrote this down because it was so profound. I mean, I speak about my word all the time, right? And the power of your word. And it says, your inner power is equivalent to the power of your word. Something like that. Your inner power is equivalent to the power of your word. Saw that on my guy Sean Croxton's post, a post that he had. My inner power, the strength that I have internally, is a direct correlation to doing what I say I'm going to do. And because I have a faith problem and a trust problem in that, I'm losing power each and every single day because it's stopping me from doing what I said I'm going to do. It's a direct correlation. My inner power is a direct correlation, and it's equivalent to the power of my word. And if you have a faith-based problem, if you don't trust it, you're not going to do what you want to do, and then you miss out. You miss out on opportunities. You miss out on things. And am I saying that things are always going to go great? No, I'm not. It's because it's not always going to go great. But how do you know what it's going to look like if you never do it? At what point in time are you going to be in a space where you said, you know what, this makes sense? This is important. This is what I'm going to do. Why? Because I trust it. I have faith that all things will work out as it's supposed to. Right? What do you put your trust in? And why do you put your trust in that? Right? People put their trust in a ton of things. You put your trust in a pilot when you fly a plane. right? You can put your trust in a taxi cab or Uber driver or a bus or whatever. You put your faith in things all the time, but sometimes when it comes to putting faith and trust in yourself, you second guess it. Why don't you second guess the pilot, the driver? Why don't you second guess the person on the road next to you who you trust can drive? Right? You trust in God, right? For those who trust in God. And in terms of a physical manifestation of God, in the physical, I'm not saying spiritually, he's not there, you don't feel it, but you trust that he's there. You put trust in him. Where's the trust in you? Or trusting that what you say you're going to do, you're going to do. That's where your inner power comes in. It's saying like, no matter what, I am going to put that trust in me. And again, I'm not saying you in terms of power, like, for all my, super religious, trust in God. I'm not saying that, but at the end of the day, even with that, you have free will. So you still have to do that deed, do that thing. You still have to trust you enough that you're going to do what you say you're going to do. That's where true power comes in. True manifestation. Like, there's no way that you can get through the life that you're supposed to live, ordained or not, without making the moves, without trusting you. You've trusted so many other things. How do you trust you? That was a question that I wrestled with for a long time, that I still wrestle with. I'm not even going to say I've been wrestling with for a long time. An extremely long time I've been wrestling with it. How have I, and as I started to ask myself and I started to say, man, when things are great, I have absolute trust that I've made the right decision. 100%. Man, I did this. I knew this was going to happen. Man, I know I can kill this. As soon as the road gets a little rocky, as soon as things aren't as clear as it's supposed to be, I step back a little bit. I pause. I'm like, man, is this what it's supposed to look like? Because if that's it, I'm going to start second guessing what it is I think I'm supposed to do. It's a natural thing for me to start to second guess it. My mentor used to tell me, my mentor Gustavo, shout out to Gustavo, one of the most unapologetic, brilliant human beings I know. Right? He's 100% authentically himself. He 100% trusts his moves. 100%. He makes zero excuses for situations and circumstances in his life, but he's 100% committed to getting the results for himself and his family that he supports. 100% of the time. And he's been able to teach multiple people how to do the exact same thing and deliver results. He doesn't BS it for Instagram or for social media. Like, he is a solid guy. And for a long time, I've been working with him. And he said to me, he was like, you're right there, right? Like, I know you can do this, but for some reason, you haven't quite gotten it done. You haven't. You've started, you've stopped. Like, you're there, then you're not. Like, I don't know what it is, but if I didn't think you could do, you're brilliant. If I didn't think you could do it, I would say like, yo, quit. Stop paying this money. Don't do this. Like, pause. However, that's not the case. I know you can do this, so why haven't you done it? Trust. I don't trust me. I feel like I don't deserve the results. Strangely enough, and I'm not saying this in a superficial way. I've had success, right? And I'm super grateful for the connections I've made, but I don't know what it is psychologically. Well, like, I could say like, man, I want to make this amount of money per month or per year. And I'm thinking, like, does it seem like that far? Am I just throwing out a number that I truly don't believe? Or do I actually believe it and I'm not? Do I believe it and I'm not doing it? Am I a little scared? Do I feel like an imposter? Like, what are these self-limiting beliefs that I have that is creating this doubt that I'm not trusting myself in the way that I'm supposed to? Because trust, key, in me, is the only way that I'll have the success that I want. I can't control anything else or anyone else. I can't. I can only do what I say I'm going to do, what I want to do, if what's the word I'm looking for? If I'm able to trust me 100% in doing it. And that's where I am. Right? That's what I've noticed. That's what I've seen. And I'm expressing it because, as I tell everybody, you're not unique to your problems. Everybody has them, right? So there's nothing special about you because you have stuff. It may feel unique to you. It may suck. Like you personally can feel it, be upset, be whatever the case is. But you're not unique to it, right? In the grand scheme of the world, right? Overall, nobody cares. Yes, you have your individual, like, I'm sorry, but it's your stuff to deal with. Right? Because you can break a leg, somebody may have broken two. Right? You can have asthma, somebody may have terminal cancer. Like, there's so much, like, everyone has stuff is my point. I'm not diminishing the stuff that you have. What I'm saying is everything is doable. Everything is overcomable. I don't even know if overcomable is a word. It's probably not. It's definitely not a word. But you're not unique to it. How your mind works, how you're functioning, how you get through that stuff is what makes you unique. Right? I saw another post by my guy Ash Cash, and don't quote me on this verbatim. Something like, you can't spell millionaire without a few L's. I believe that was the post. I believe I saw that from him. What does that mean? Meaning you're going to take losses. You're going to have pain. Right? You're going to have to be resilient through it. You're not going to, like, you can't be given anything, the power, the money, the fame. You can't be given it without having resiliency, because you will not be able to handle it. Those who can't handle it lose it anyway. So why not build up character, right? Have a callous mind that's so strong that no matter what happens, it's okay. Why not? Because it's going to take that in order to have success and for your happiness. And it doesn't have to be money, right? Another one of my mentors, he said, if I gave you $1 million and I said you're gonna die tomorrow, like, is the $1 million worth it? Of course not. Or if I give you $1 million and locked you in a closet and you had to live out of a closet, what good is $1 million? Is the $1 million really what you want? Right? What defines happy? What does happy look like for you? Can you achieve happiness in that space? That's important to see and to note, to understand, to grasp in a real way. What are you chasing after? And are you trusting what you're chasing? That's key. Are you trusting what you're chasing? Because if you're not trusting what you're chasing, it doesn't matter. So as I wrap up this episode, because I don't want to make it super long, right? But if I started this with two things, right? I spoke about having, you don't have a clarity problem, you have a faith problem, right? You'll never be clear because you can't see the future. Can you predict it? Yeah, of course, right? And I'm not saying you can't project or predict, but do you know for sure what's going to happen 5 minutes from now? Of course not. You trust that you'll get to your destination safely, or whatever it is. You trust it. And I get it. That's faith. But stop putting faith in every other thing but yourself. Stop it. Because if you can put faith in other things, you can put it in you. And understand that your power, your inner power, is in direct correlation to your word. But the only way to really trust your word and to do that is to have faith that your outcome is what it's going to be, regardless if you can't see it and regardless if it doesn't happen. Inky Johnson used to say, and don't quote me on this exactly, but he used to say he wants to make sure that, or he said, what did trying to capture the actual the verbiage, but it's something to the effect of like, I am not, the result isn't what drives or moves me, right? I can, I'm committed to the work, right? And not the, I'm committed to the process, not the end result, right? It's a unique, and I have to look it up so I can give it to you next episode because I'm drawing a blank now. But the power behind that is like, you got to go through it. Who cares what the end result is? Because each thing that you go through is just going to equip you to be a better human being, to be a better man, to be a better individual. And that's what's important. That is what the big thing is. Anyway, I hope this podcast really reached a couple people. I know this podcast had a bigger platform than the Mental Jolt podcast, so I'll allow it. I want to regrow this podcast, but really understand the power behind this. All right? Remember, you don't have a faith issue. You don't have a clarity issue. It's a faith issue. Love you guys. Peace.